Hey guys, Monday, February 17, 2025. Let's see what the Black Widow wants to do today. Before I start doing that, I wanted to go and check out spectrum cycle analysis. I know the weeklies are positive. There's one data set that says somewhere around November of 2025. That's a little more fractal, using less data. So the weekly cycles are up. Now when I go max, at least roughly 20 years of data, and put the spectrum cycle analysis, that one takes us all the way to, let's go there so you kind of get an idea. Let's go into the weekly spectrum. So this is the weekly spectrum. This is more, you could say conservative. We're using data from 2010. And the cycle here is 211. 211, and this one peaks around November of 2025. So this is conservative, a little more fractal with the data, but still positive. The cycles are up on the weekly. Now, when you want to go max, which is using all the data we have, as you can see, this data right here is not counted. Now it's all included. You go back. There's one strong cycle here is the 229. And this is big picture. This one goes all the way to 2026 around April. So it goes past November. So this is even extends further out. So as long as you remember November 2025 and April-ish around 2026, the big picture weekly cycles are up. Now, going to the daily, it gets interesting because you got to remember, we're not going to go like a rocket ship all the way to 2026. Hopefully, I know you know that. I mean, you could get kind of a move like this, from 2 years worth of, bullish price action that could play out. So let's see. There's going to be turns in the market, like cycles. So this is the daily, and this is fractal. This is just using data from 2022 to current prices. And the one that sticks out here is the 324. And you can see that we already hit a peak around February the 5th. Somewhere in that ballpark. I was like, this cycle just hit a top here on the daily. So from, you can say maybe February, or maybe if you want to consider April, you got this bounce, fail new low. And now we hit a peak here, and now this cycle now is down, or is about to go down. And that's just using this data. If we extend it a little more, I don't know if it changes much. Yeah, so the cycle is already down. It's been down since December, but this one doesn't really make, it doesn't really line up well, because we, unless it was a bull trap. The high was on 13. So let's go 5 years-ish. So we got data from 2018 to now. Now let's include that. And then you got your 329, which is where we at right now. I like using the 5 year. It's more of, I guess, something that I learned from Gann. So 5 years is where I find the sweet spot when I use spectrum cycle. And you can see that we're about to hit this peak. But we already hit it, top departure. So we have to be very careful here, because we don't know if this is going to either go sideways or lower. We know that over here is a wave 4. This one right here. 3, 4 in regards to Elliott wave, and then there's a 5 coming up. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But the daily has hit a peak. This is also, there's a 260 cycle here. And this one is bottoming out. somewhere around March. But I'm watching more the 329 just because we got this nice grind higher here. And I don't know if from here we're going to go down. So be cautious. That's what I want to just tell you. Be cautious because sometimes maybe this wave 5 may not play out. And maybe it could, go sideways to lower here. Or just sideways, but just be very cautious here. This is a commitments of traders report, and looking at retail, which is you and me. As you can see, we got this nice move here to the upside. I don't know what's going on with my pointer. There we go. And we kind of stalled right here around 20,000 position. Kind of hit this high here. And now retail is just kind of going sideways. Don't know if they want to continue buying or they're going to turn and short here. But they're definitely long from where they're at now. Looking at large speculators, you can see that they went all the way as high as minus 65,000. Hit this high here, so maybe it's a fail new high. And so far they're unwinding. Maybe not that much conviction that nat gas is going to go higher. This was the January 27th report. And we know we made the high on the 13th. So they went a little bit and then retreated. You got a fail new high in regards to position on the commitments of traders report from the large speculators. We got to see if this is going to continue, because if it is, they're betting that nat gas is going to go lower, or they're just unwinding, getting some profit out. Commercial, same thing. They were hedging and they got to kiss the August low. In regards to position, 48,000 and change. And they kissed it, 47, and stalled. And then started accumulating. So there's like a floor here that they're just watching. It was like a fail new low. If we were to go down and pierce that and push lower, they're going to continue hedging, betting that nat gas is going to go higher. So keep these positions on watch. Here's all of them. Large speculators unwinding. Commercial also unwinding, and retail don't know if it's going to go up or lower. Here's a seasonality chart I like to look at. What's interesting is that on February, well, this is using 5 years worth of data. On January to February, nat gas gets strong, but then March comes in and gets weak. And then April, for some reason, is the strongest right now. So keep that in mind, April being the strongest. I don't know if it's just getting a head start into April and then maybe pull back. And maybe this is where I don't know, maybe we can end our wave 5. Not too sure. Looking at 5 years of data, that's where it is. And then March is weak. Going into 10 years. You can see that February is weak, but so far we're pretty strong in regards to price action. But then April sticks out, being even stronger. Going to 15 years, same thing. Notice April. In 20 years, you can see that April still is strong. So I wonder, since we're going higher in between January and February, if it's going to be an inverse, to be a low in April. Maybe we hit our wave 5, and then instead of being strong in April, we're going to be a low in April. I remember April 14 ringing a bell. I think that was the 194 low. I can't believe it was, 2023, 2024, maybe 2023. But I always remember April 14 as a low of 198. I wonder if that's what's could possibly play out. So I got to keep that in the back of my mind and see if there's any cycles that confirm this. You know, grind higher and then inverse into a low, which typically is strong in April. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so this is the last video. Sorry I didn't do the geometry one. I figured this is a little important. It gives you a little more of a bigger backdrop of where we at, and catching up on some other techniques and cycles and stuff like that, and just kind of see where we're at. So the dailies are getting very toppy, so we have to be careful here, even though we know that in the LEA wave theory, this is a wave 4. I will have to back test some things and see if, you know, the wave 4s either end to wave 5 or it just becomes a dud and goes down. Let's look at our market profile. So far, we got good support, value or a high of 330. Getting a little weak over here. As you can see, this high was as 364. It's a pivot high, so maybe it's now becoming resistance. Keep an eye on that October high at 363. Now is maybe becoming resistance. In regards to the weekly, we bounce off the anchored VWAP, found support, went back to the value area high of 363, and we're just chopping around there. So we need to at least take out this high of around 380-ish to at least retest this and maybe continue going higher to validate this as a wave 4. Because right now this is a wave 4. But if we take this out, this is a dead cat bounce and break through the anchor VWAP and go down, then this was all not a wave 4. It's a fake. The account will adjust. But so far, wave 4, keeping in mind now that the spectrum on the daily now are toppy. So it's very tricky here. That's part of trading. Some things are not going to line up. So you have to make your best guess and best decision in, you know, risk management. Let's get out of here. Let's go into the daily, more fractal. So we're above our midpoints of 343, 339. It's still kind of chopping around the value area high, which is, in using 3 months of data, that's 371. So if there was a target, it will probably be that. And if we could close above that, then it's going to be your testing of 380 and maybe kissing at least 389. But so far you're above the midpoint, so you're more in the value area high area. Now looking at our simple glance, what's interesting here is that first off, TD9 just kicked in for the month of January, and that's where our high is of 436. So is this a turning point to go down? We'll have to monitor that, but we can't take out 436. Maybe there's something to the TD9 on January of the month. On the weekly, we have 13 weave candle that just kicked in, TD 13, which is this week. And we're in chop fest for the whole week. We either have to break 338 or break above 386. But once you're in that range, it's pretty much choppy. There's no trending like this. So if you're really conservative, then wait till at least we break above 385 or 337 to get this downside move or retest the high. Here is going to be chop. MACD is still negative. ED 13 is this week. And so far the Hikanashi candles are a little positive, but you're in the chop noise here. We have a PPS sell signal and above the 20 and the 50. So it's your call, and you're right smack in the middle of linear regression channels pointing north. On the daily, we're already into the cloud. So in the short time frame, we're starting to look a little weak. The cloud is looking a little negative. Linear regression channels now are pointing lower. And as of the 14th, which was Friday of last week, we have a TD9. We got a TD9 on the monthly. We got a TD13 on the weekly. And we got a TD9 on the daily, indicating possible turning points, knowing also that Elliott wave 4 here, waiting for a 5, and the daily spectrum cycles are getting toppy, impossible a turning point here. So those are the scenarios. MACD is still positive, but looking like almost like a hockey stick. And you're in the cloud. So if you're in the cloud, you need to get out and close above 366. And you're in here, so it's going to get a little crazy, but you're still above the moving averages, and you got still a PPS buy signal. When it gets ugly is when you get out of the cloud and close below the value area high of 327. That's when the move could be very ugly. And that's probably going to be a good strong move to the downside if you're a bear. Maybe a target all the way to the linear regression channel here, or point of control, which is 279. So this is a scenario where it goes down. They'll probably, it may either test this pivot low here, which is a wave 4 of 298, all the way to 279. So yes, you have to just be careful to see if this is just a dead cat bounce to do an A, B, C maybe. That's just all speculation. Let's look at our midpoint. So far on the yearly, you're above, so you're good. On the daily, you're below your monthly pivot, 368. So you can see that it's grayish. Mobiles are positive, but the trend is up. So we have to see how this is going to resolve for today. But this is your target. If you were to go to the long side, would be 368 and hopefully close above. On the 4 hour, this is your line in the sand for this week. 357, you need to hold. So you got this big gap on the 4 hour here. Maybe it fills it here. I don't know about President's Day in regards to volume, but you need to hold this. If this was to go down, you need to hold at least 357. If that doesn't hold, then your next target will be 346. So far, the mobiles are negative, so that indicates to me that this could probably be a dead cat bounce, and there's going to be some more hardcore down pressure. I don't like going long when the mobiles are this extreme. Yeah, Stokes are kind of there. If this starts digging in, there could be some more down pressure. So I'm very cautious here and going long, but I am watching it. But I want to see volume backing it up. And then lastly, the hourlies, you can see you get your big gap, which surprising. I thought it was either going to be opening or maybe a pop of all the weather that's coming up and all the stuff happening. You can see that the 1 hour now is positive. It looks like maybe you could fill this gap, and it's probably going to fill it right to your midpoint, which is 371. If you wanted to go long, short time frame, fill this gap. That'll be your midpoint, and it'll be right there, right in the sweet spot. Maybe in the US session, it looks like maybe that's what it wants to do. Fill this gap. And then once it fills the gap, to see what's going to happen there. If it's going to continue going higher, then you definitely want to take out 380. But if you can't take out 380, then maybe more chop until it resolves. I'm going to sign out. Hope you like this video. I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on that gas.